Warning, warning, Wii U. If you're a big fan of RWBY and don't want to listen to people being rude about the show, you probably won't enjoy this podcast. Please don't make yourself suffer. You've been warned.
Some evil will never ever die.
Hi, this is Crow. I made a deal with the darkness, and now I'm playing Batman. And you're listening to Anime Slushy.
That's so funny, Crow. It's me, Robyn. You're listening to Anime Slushy. But actually, it's me, Q. I'm taking the mask off. It's me, Q. Hey, guys. It's time. It's time for the double length Super Smorgasbord Slushy.
Which was the episode where Robyn's just telling funny stories?
That's this one. It starts with episode 4.
Yeah. And Crow's just looking at the badge of the guy he killed. Or got killed.
Yeah, it's so good because it starts with, especially because it starts with this angle on Robyn that makes her nose look completely ridiculous. This model was not meant to be viewed from this angle.
Mm.
And yeah, she's just fucking, I'm just making small talk. Woo, remember, I'm the sassy one. Ooh. And he's like, I live in a world of darkness.
It's just, I get the idea that, she's trying to cheer him up, whatever. But this doesn't fit well when you've got this whole thing with Robyn where she flips back and forth.
Yeah, it's the same problem she's always had, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't have context-appropriate emotions. Especially her now trying to amuse jocks or be sarcastically chummy with him even after she was so earnest about her anger at him last time.
She was punching the wall trying to get at him last time because he was complaining. So yeah, the writers really did not settle on whether or not she's supposed to be fun and sassy or angry activist person.
Yeah, and it was really weird the first time we saw Crow. He's like, I need to kill Ironwood, and now he's just like, it's my fault. I made a deal with the darkness. By the way, that's a line he literally says. He says he made a deal with the darkness. It's amazing.
Yeah, so they get it. This is as close as he gets to ever admitting that Clover's death might have been partially his fault.
Yeah, he does say it's his fault this time.
Yeah, he talks about how Clover wouldn't let up. And he didn't know what to do. I still don't think that justifies doing it, trying to kill him with Tyrene as opposed to turn into bird and fly away, because that was an option.
He can't remember. Oh yeah, but we should mention that this episode is the first one this season that's written by Eddie. So that's why now we're getting the Eddie version of a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
There's better dialogue in places, but otherwise.
Yeah, in a few places, but it's still, oh man, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I will say, so Crow and Robyn at this point have a discussion about their semblances. Well, Crow's talking about his regret at Clover's death because he's saying, I think the line is...
I wrote it down if you want me to read it.
Yeah, please.
For the first time, I thought maybe I could be around somebody, anybody, without my semblance making it complicated. Now it feels like a childish dream. Gone, like everybody else.
That ending is laying it on way too thick.
Everyone around me has died, by which I mean one person, probably. I think I mean Summer, probably, I guess.
Oh man, I don't know if it's just me, but it really feels like they're still willing to toy with the idea that Crow might have been into Clover romantically.
I think Eddie just is one of those people that's so... He wrote all the gayest dialogue for Crow and Clover, but it just did not occur to him that people might read it as gay because... What do you mean? They're just two guys, though.
Because it's back to that dilemma from last time where it's either you didn't realize what you were writing or you did and you don't care about the whole burying a gay trope. And it's well, you still don't seem to care.
Yeah. I believe Eddie that he didn't realize what the fuck was going on and he can't see it. But it does immediately lead into this romantic moment between Robyn and Crow. So it's obviously, if you do the exact same concept of imagery with a girl, then it's romantic. But with a bro, it's just bros.
Yeah, what Cube's talking about is that Robyn attempts to relate to Crow by pointing out that her semblance gets in the way of personal relationships for her too, because she can always tell when anyone's lying to her, and that makes things edgy, I guess.
Makes her kind of a buzzkill to be around.
Yeah, assuming you're always touching her, I guess. Was that the implication that it makes sex awkward?
No, it's just that, you might brush her at a party and then she'd be like, oh, you're full of shit. Oh, gotcha.
You have to be lying as you brush her. I mean, that would be the thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true. You'd have to actively be making the lie.
Yeah.
Well, look, she probably lords that over people as a thing that she can do at any time because she's a dick like that.
This is the first real conversation I feel like those two characters have had. So yeah, this feels like the beginning of something.
Yeah, because especially at the end of it, she like puts her hand against the cell wall. Like, that could be hard to make a connection. And it's like, oh, wow, I wonder what this framing is hinting at.
Yeah. Something strange happens here where
There's a lot odd about what happens here. I'm excited to see which thing you're mentioning.
I mean, it's only odd once you see the episode after this one, but Watts is brought back to his cell.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, we see Watts back at that desk that he was at last time we saw him working on the sword.
Yeah, so episode 3, he's hacking for Ironwood. Episode 4, they throw him back in the cage. Episode 5, he's back in the office hacking for Ironwood. Don't forget, this all takes place over like a few hours.
Yeah, did someone miss a memo there?
I mean, that would fit with how stuff went last season, right? It's the discontinuity shit.
Like, he's thrown in there partially so that Harriet and Crow could have a little scene where they discuss stuff. And we get another moment of Marrow looking at one of the other race ops going, I don't know about this.
Okay, but the scene, the way it plays out is really funny because Harry is like, give us that pin, you know, the one that was Clover's. And she's like, you killed Clover. And Crow's like, no, I didn't. And it's like, why didn't you confiscate that from him?
Yeah, why'd you let him keep it?
Why are you just talking to a prisoner like, gimme?
And when he says no, they leave without taking it.
Yeah, and it's like, in their view, that's evidence for a murder.
What's funny is that the badge doesn't have blood on it anymore.
Yeah, he wiped it off, I guess.
Yeah. Exonerated. I don't know.
Oh yeah, but I do like that Robyn does mention, hey, if you want to know what happened, just hold my hands and I could solve this whole thing. So at least it does get brought up that that's a thing that can happen, even though she wasn't actually awake for that. So she would be just trusting what Crow said also.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Was she awake for any of that? Or was she still passed out from when she got jobbed in the fucking plane?
Yeah, she was KO'd on the ground.
Yeah.
So she's just assuming whatever Crow told her. I guess she might have triangulated with Crow, but off screen. But, you know, obviously we didn't get to see that.
Yeah, it is also sort of funny to me that, like, they know Tyrion's still out there. Like, they know he was on that plane and he got away. And then, like, everyone's just like, oh, no, Crow definitely did it, though. That makes total sense.
Tyrion isn't even on the wanted list.
No, he's just away. He's just off.
Oscar's on the wanted list, but Tyrion isn't.
Yeah. Fucking Maria is on the wanted list, the person who hasn't done anything so far.
Look, she's a getaway driver.
Yeah.
So Harriet is now, in these 2 episodes, she's decided that she is very into police brutality. That's her new character trait that she's very excited about. She wants to beat the shit out of prisoners.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Robyn's like, hey, you know, open this cage and I can, you know, do my fucking semblance to tell you what's true. Oh, but you don't want to know what's true, do you? And Harriet's like, ooh, I'm coming over there. And yeah, that's when Meryl's like, I don't know about police brutality. And there's some like bad framing where they don't make it clear that Harriet's about to beat the shit out of Robyn. I thought maybe she was going to open the cell to actually do the hand thing.
She's pretty angry.
I know, but she also, like, they show the door that would open to Robyn, and it's, like, on the other side of her cell. It's very strangely staged. So I actually wasn't sure which she wanted. So when Marrow was like, Harriet, don't, I was like, does he not want to know?
Yeah, they could have let her, like, get in there and almost punch her, and then Marrow stops her or something.
Yeah, or even just have her do, like, the thing where, you know, you, like, crack your knuckles or whatever. Just, like, an obvious, like, I'm about to do brutality. I mean, because that's what she does in the next episode to make it clear that she was very excited to beat up a Watts.
Yeah, and again, this is, like, I felt like there was a moment there where we were meant to sort of feel like, oh, Harriet, she's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I don't think so. I think Harriet's gone full crazy fash person.
Well, no, she has, but there was something about I thought there was something in her reaction to Robyn saying you could find out the truth. And also, like, think about in episode 1, where she had that sort of like, I don't know, look when Ironwood shot that person in the face.
No, see, you read that differently. I read that as a resolved look, and that's why Winter was like, oh, fucking awkward.
I don't know. I'm still not completely sure where we're meant to fall with Harriet. Because, yeah, on the other hand, Harriet's, like, real down to do a punch.
Yeah, it's really weird to see her just go, like, completely like, I'm just evil now, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So, motorcycle race. It's time for an action scene. I fucking hate this action scene. Video games. Hey guys, have you heard of video games?
I mean, look, I didn't hate the motorcycle race.
I liked some of it conceptually. I didn't like pretty much any of it in execution.
There's that same issue they've had where everything's a bit too tight. There was some cool choreography in places I didn't mind, of like them sort of switching positions. There was some nice ideas, like, so the setup is that the hound is flying away with Oscar, and they followed it right out of the city, out into the wilderness. And the hound is trying to lose them in a canyon.
Yeah, and it refuses to fly too high because then he wouldn't be, you know, within the 2D scrolling framework.
I mean, yeah, that's an issue with this whole chase scene. I was like, why is the hound hugging the ground so much? I guess, okay, I guess he can't go too high. And then at the end of the thing, you see him fly away high up in the air towards the whale. And it's like, well...
Yeah, he just had to do it for video games.
Yeah. But there was some okay stuff in there. Like, there's the bit where Jorn helps Ren leap up to sort of rope the hound's leg and sort of hang on.
Yeah, he uses those new like grappling hook thingies that he has, and he does get bashed around a lot while he's hanging off the grim, and I do enjoy that. I'm like, haha, eat shit, Ren.
The hound calls for backup, essentially. It does a big roar, goes rrr, and then a bunch of those little centipede grim pop out of the ground.
Yeah, and there's also some wyverns and stuff, so he can just like summon help or whatnot.
Yeah, and a new butt rock plays. What was this butt rock like?
Yeah. This butt rock is way better than the opening, and I'm like, you should have fucking used this one as the opening. Like, I understand. I know that you don't like any of it, but I swear, like, the opening is... I cannot stress enough how much the opening is a different song with a different beat every 10 seconds. And this one is at least like, it is a contiguous song. It feels like a melody that I can like grasp onto whatsoever. It's some edgy bullshit, but in a fun way. I'm down.
Okay.
But it's really weird that this got the butt rock song out of all the fights we've had so far.
Yeah, I guess they thought this was like a big set piece. Like, it was clearly intended to be. And again, it did seem like some effort had gone into it. There were some decent ideas. The execution, not so strong. Yeah,
that's always what bugs me out with sequences like this. Like, this one must have been so much work with all the extra, like, background stuff you have to do and everything.
And it's just, there's all these little things, like, again, like, it's kind of too tight for me to really enjoy the flow of it.
Oh, yeah, especially when John ditches his bite. I couldn't understand. I thought he was doing that kind of like video game thing where he jumped over an obstacle and then he was going to land back on his bike. Because again, like the whole fluid is so tight and so fluid motion that you don't get the idea that he was ditching the bike really. It's just all, you just keep going forward.
Yeah. There's other things like just those bikes. They suck. I know I've harped on about this, but they're so boring to look at. And the way they move it just feels so leaden and ugh, I don't know. It's no fun.
Yeah, like there's that one where they like do finally do a slow-mo when they do like a jump over some grim, but it doesn't feel cool, and it's not like in the kind of tight, oh, we just managed to dodge them way that it should be.
No.
And it's just like oh, and he uses his shield bomb to make a ramp, and it's really funny because they hit the shield bomb and then it tips over to make a ramp, and it's like, God, this fucking shield bomb sucks so much. But that's another thing that just happens real quick, and I'm like, is that it for his shield bomb? Did he pick that up on the way back? Because if that was like the payoff to the setup of the shield bomb, that was nothing.
I guess that was it, yeah.
Weird.
That might be it.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit video gamey. Like, once the centipedes pop up, they're kind of just like, they just sort of sit there so Jorn can cut at them with his sword as he goes past. Like to get bonus points.
If he gets close, he has to hit X, and then he'll defeat the centipede with a single slash.
Yeah, but there's like one that he misses, and then that's the thing that shoots acid onto his bike, so he has to ditch it. But I don't know. It's just, and like the wyverns, they don't really come into it, really, apart from the one they have to jump, which is funny because it's a wyvern.
Yeah, they're just there as like set pieces.
Yeah, but they're not even really interacting with them. They're just like, one of them lands, so it has to be jumped over. So at the end, Jorn and Yang realize they're headed towards a cliff. Again, one of those moments I felt like I went too quickly. Jorn digs his sword into the ground as the idea is going to stop himself and Yang from falling, but he doesn't keep his grip, and they go off the cliff. And I sort of felt like that was a moment that could have been like, you probably could have held on that a little longer, but it's over before you even notice. And then they're falling in slow motion, and then Ren comes out of nowhere and saves them. And then as the griffin flies towards them, he does his emotion masking thing, and all the grim just leave.
And there goes Oscar. Bye.
Bye, Oscar.
And there's that really funny concept art at the end of the episode.
Yeah, so there's a concept art of this moment when you see the hound finally start to fly upwards and the whales in the background, and it's from over Ren's shoulder, which was happening because so Ren's like, one of his guns is holding up the other two guys. The other gun is holding himself to the cliff. But the way it's framed, it looks like Ren is waving to Oscar as he gets taken away.
Yeah, bye-bye.
to go meet Salem. Yeah.
Oh, another thing during this fight, there's part where Yang is riding parallel to the Grim and shooting it in the head with her fist. And I'm like, oh, now you're fucking willing to shoot it, even though it has Oscar in its goddamn mouth. Where was this kind of go-getter attitude in episode 3?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Again, there was some good ideas in there, and the whole thing with like Hound didn't call for backup until they actually got to that point where they were kind of catching up with it and able to shoot it a bit. There was some decent flow there. It just wasn't that strong.
Yeah, and again, I do like the butt rock, but I do feel like the butt rock wasn't necessarily really written for this scene because it's just generic, like, the darkness is coming in, everything's dark and horrible. and it just felt like a kind of, like they just had that song sitting around and they're like, I guess we'll put it to the motorcycle chase?
I think what I'm starting to realize about this chase and why maybe I kind of was more gentle on it is that it had beats. Like the action had beats, and that's not something that RWBY always pulls off during action scenes.
Yeah, like it felt like it was written, I guess.
Yeah, like, that here's the setup, even though ignoring things like the setup's nonsense and the action was poorly executed. There was a setup, they managed to get it close, the situation changed, they had to respond. There were enough like little moments and bits and pieces that happened and changed, and it kind of, I don't know, it's sad that that's commendable, but like...
No, yeah, like, it's one of the things that makes me more sad than other badly executed stuff in RWBY, because it's like, oh, this was almost well executed, and it maybe could have been with, like, a little more time or the right director or whatnot.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, I keep thinking about what Eddie was saying about the idea of stuff making sense scene to scene, and I keep thinking about how, like, yeah, that really is, it really feels like that's the way you guys write the show scene to scene, because... there's so many things about these setups that don't make sense. Like the Hound flying low at any point at all. Like
is very silly.
Yeah.
So now we have that short scene where Weiss and crew go to arrive at her house.
Ah, yes.
Which I'm kind of down with them using her house as a whatever stop off point. And she does a very meme thing because Whitley's like, brah, 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 why are you guys here? Brah, brah, brah. I'm very worried about my reputation, even though it's the apocalypse, because I'm the evil rich boy, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, go to your room. And it's like, oh, Slay Queen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again one of those things where the villains just feel kind of absurd. Like the idea that Whitley could see the whale and go, oh, but our family's reputation, that's a bit
I feel
much.
like he's still supposed to get fucking redeemed or something, because they show him in the next episode being all like, I'm sad in my dad's office, I'm a victim.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's not that I particularly hate Whitley or anything, it's just that like what is he? He's just always been like a cartoon younger brother.
Yeah, and again, he's part of, because I still don't think anyone has remembered what happened in Volume 4. That entire arc with Weiss, they just completely forgot it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that he's the evil, helped her inheritance get stolen by her dad. Doesn't matter.
No, not really. There is a line in here as well about how Mother's gone back to her room, so we're not seeing Willow again, for now at least.
She loves to be off screen.
But there was also this thing about we've lost all of our staff. What?
Yeah, I don't know, because the apocalypse, I guess, or they don't want to work for a felon.
They went home? What is it fucking?
I don't know.
Yeah.
At least we don't have to see Klein.
Well, yeah, but he'd already been sacked. If anything, this makes Klein coming back more likely. IMO.
Oh God, I would be okay with him like suddenly looking up and he's like in rags in the slums or something, and we're like, hey, fucker.
Harsh.
Oh, and so the scene, RWBY is worried about how everyone else is doing, and Blake is like, well, if you're worried about Yang, you can call her, which is consistent with Blake not giving a fuck about Yang this season. She's on that Weiss train. Like, if you're worried about Yang, you can call her.
And then RWBY says, that's just it. I have been. And you can see she's trying to call her and it's not connecting. By the way,
yeah, dun, dun, dun.
The second RWBY started talking in this scene, you know what struck me again?
She was using her human voice?
Yeah. Human RWBY voice is back.
Unfortunately, nobody was doing a human walk. Everybody's doing really silly walks this season. Oh, that's right. We should mention there's going to be a big RWBY hiatus after episode 7, which is good because apparently there's been, like a lot of production issues. I mean, because of COVID and everything. So when is it? February something it'll pick back up?
Yeah, something like that. So we got after this episode here, there'll be 2 more slushies to follow episodes 6 and 7.
Oh, no.
Yeah, one of the producers from Rooster Teeth did a thing where they said that they'd basically been working remotely for doing all of their 3D modeling and rendering stuff, and said, while everyone's done real well, it's obviously still slower, so we have to take a break. So that's good.
Yeah.
They're not forcing them to crunch or anything.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That is absolutely the right call.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they just delayed the whole season, but better late than never.
I suppose. And they do usually take a little break around the midpoint of the season. It's usually like only a couple of weeks, not like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But hopefully that does give them the time they need, and I hope that they aren't just all crunching over Christmas or whatnot. Hang in there, everybody.
Ubering the monster.
Oh no. The monster. So it's time for a very important scene. Hey, so you know what the problem is with the cold?
Yeah, God.
Ren, Yang, and John are walking in the snow. John is pulling along one of the bikes that you can pull it and it hovers, but I guess they can't make it go vroom vroom right now.
Yeah. The anti-grav is working, but the engine is busted.
And Yang says, we need to get out of this weather before the cold drops our auras completely. And now, if you recall, in episode 2, Oscar's aura was destroyed by the hounds. And then the hound flew with him in his mouth through a bunch of tundra all the way up to Salem. It's fine. Don't worry about that. This is again with your scene to scene thing, right? Because in that scene, we weren't supposed to be thinking about aura in the cold, but in this scene, we are.
Or when Oscar was shot and his aura went down in snow, or where they were discussing back in season 7 about how if you don't have aura or cold weather clothing, you're in a lot of trouble. Their aura goes down all the time. Why wouldn't they just wear cold weather clothing as a fucking precaution?
Hey, I did notice Yang rolled her sleeves down. I'm really proud of them, especially because they said that they'd rolled them up so that it didn't look as good because it was too much trouble to animate if they were big puffy sleeves. But I guess they put in time. She was able to roll her sleeves down. Still has her fucking leg unzipped like a dummy.
Yeah.
Still has that boobs hanging out.
I know it's an anime show and they've all got silly costumes, but it just still bugs me.
No, look, that's the problem. They draw attention to the fact that they are cold and freezing to death and shit. And Carrie said that he thought that these were appropriate cold weather clothes. It's all these things together. Normally I'd be yeah, whatever, anime hand wave. But that they told me these are good enough, and no, they're not. They're not at all. Anyways, they better get out of the cold before they die of cold. But Ren's being a big old bitch. She's like, and she's like, where's that outpost that you saw on the way? And he's like,
flawless recreation. Cube's actually playing a clip from the show right now.
Yeah. And so she finally just walks up to him and she says, what is your deal? And then this is the point where, shocking twist, it turns out that Ren is right and everyone else is wrong. And I was shocked to discover.
I mean, sort of.
Well, yeah, it's they're about to have an argument that I transcribed completely because it's very important. And I want to say Ren is 80% in the right here. And he's still being a jackass about it. And the conclusion he draws at the very end is still wrong. But he does have good motivations for being upset. He's just handling it like a fucking tiny baby child.
Okay, so let's go through the argument first of all. Let's set the ground.
Okay, so Ren kind of reiterates the thing from last season where he's we weren't ready to be hunters. And Yang says, were we not ready when we saved Haven? When we took down a Leviathan? We got the lamp to Atlas. So first...
Let's stop there for a minute.
The only person who actually saved Haven at all was Blake when she brought the White Fang in to stop Haven from being exploded.
Well, hang on. When she brought the Faunus in.
Sorry, yeah, but Ilya, who is also the White Fang, and she's the one who disabled the bombas.
Oh yeah, true.
So Blake and all of Faunus kind saved Haven from other Faunus, but the only thing anyone else wanted on Salem's crew was to get that relic. And so all the Team RWBY accomplished was stopping her from getting the relic. Wait a minute. Oopsie, she has it now.
Also, as you've pointed out, it turns out she didn't know how to use it then. So she would have been in the same place then as she is now if she'd had it that much earlier.
Yeah, Ren is going to say that they've made everything worse, and he's 100% correct. If they had done nothing, the worst case scenario is that Salem maybe has another maiden under her clutches and has one of the relics that she can't fucking use. I'm so glad that we've worked so hard.
My question is, who was responsible for Cinder being beaten? Was it any of Team RWBY or was it...
It was Raven.
It was Raven, yeah.
Yeah, Raven beat her all by herself, along with Vernal.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, very important character we all loved.
I mean, I suppose, if I have to counter you for a moment, Q, because if they didn't have the lamp in season 6, they wouldn't have gotten all that really important backstory.
That very crucial information that changed nothing they were doing. And that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so speaking of things that other people took care of that she's taking credit for, when we took down a Leviathan, you know, the one that only attacked the town because of what we did and was defeated by the lady that we had hampered from her ability to defeat Grimm. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
That's the thing, because you could say, oh, well, but RWBY was very clever when she used the lamp to pause time so she could freeze it for 5 seconds. But, Cordovan might have been able to work a bit faster if her mech wasn't half destroyed and stuck when the Leviathan was working its way through the shields.
Yeah, and that's still ignoring the fact that the Leviathan was only there because of what RWBY did.
Yeah.
But it was really important what RWBY did because they had to get the lamp to Atlas, which is the other thing that Yang lists as an accomplishment, which is fucking ballsy as shit.
Yeah, considering what they know has happened.
Yeah, they know they lost it already, and she's still like, but we got it here.
The idea that that was a good thing. That either you fall on the side of, but then we couldn't actually, keep it safe here, or we didn't put it in the fucking vault.
Yeah, because Ren immediately counters with, and then we lost it. And it's like, yeah. Now Salem has it. Though I realized there's no reason that they should actually know Salem has it. I assume that they do just because of how RWBY logic works, but they actually shouldn't know she has it because why would they assume that Neo would be working for Salem?
I guess it's not like the last time when they saw Neo was working with Salem's forces.
That's true. She was working for Roman, who was working for Cinder, who was working for Salem.
Yeah. There was a bit of middle management involved, but it's not a huge bow to draw that one.
Yeah, I guess I can figure.
The thing about this argument is that we're meant to be sort of weighing up what Ren's saying versus what Yang's saying, and in that sense, it's meant to balance out.
I think we're supposed to be on Yang's side. I think we're supposed to be like, oh, I understand why Ren is so frustrated right now, but Yang has the right of it.
Yeah.
I think that's how we're supposed to come down.
But that's the trouble, is that everything Yang said is wrong. Whereas what Ren is saying is correct. Like I said, I don't agree with his conclusion, but he's definitely not wrong in saying that Team RWBY has not helped anyone and has actively made things worse.
Yeah, he says, and then we lost it. And after that, when we had to make real decisions, we made every single one wrong. True. Though I would say that they were making real decisions wrong even before that. But, fair enough.
It also needs to include the fact that they made no decisions last season, which was part of the problem.
Oh, that's great. Apparently, so before the Dawn, the other tie-in book that's after the Fall, there's supposed to be a canonical timeline linkage up between the two. That would mean that RWBY was in Atlas for half a year. For half a year, they sat around not making any plans and just helping Ironwood with his thing they knew he couldn't do. I demand they canonize that.
Eddie's gotten into a bit of trouble lately in terms of playing fast and loose with timelines and the crew not really thinking about what those timelines imply.
I love it. I love that we dunked him for making bad posts and then he made a post where RWBY is like a predator. Because he wanted to sound so confident about the timeline that he made a statement that if you actually work out the math of it, means that RWBY is 18 now while Oscar is 14 or 15 or whatever. And it's like, oops. And so everyone was getting upset and he was like, actually, okay, fine, scratch that. But everyone stopped being mean to me.
I think it was just get back to Eddie for a moment. I think this is part of what bugged me the most about his post is that there's an indignance at the idea that anyone would suggest that RWBY isn't worked out and all the details are really nailed down. You know what I mean?
Someone was like, just say you misspoke, Eddie. Just say you misspoke. And he was like, hey, we don't need any personal attacks against me.
How can you be that sort of touchy about the fact that RWBY is not a well planned out show, but also you write on RWBY? It's so obviously not a well planned out show.
No, yeah, it's like the math was based on a scene from the Volume 3 era. All you had to say was that, we didn't really have the timeline down and please ignore some of the details.
You know what, Cube? They don't make retcons. You can't call them retcons.
I will destroy.
But yeah, it's just, the issue was that Eddie had previously said that he thought Rose Garden was an okay ship.
No, it was Miles who said Rose Garden was an okay ship.
Was it? Oh, okay. Well, okay.
So this makes Miles a pedophile apologist, theoretically. Okay. But obviously, we know it's just that they didn't understand the math that they were creating when they tried to, square all of these concepts together.
Yeah.
But that's the issue of thinking that you can get away with just not pinning your timeline down.
Yeah, there was that whole thing where Miles ages ago said that not pinning your timeline down means you avoid plot holes. And it's like, well, maybe, but you might end up doing something like this instead, implying that if these two characters to hook up, it would be statutory rape. So, whoops.
Yeah, it's just of all the banana peels to step on in terms of stupid Word of God posts, it's a pretty amazing one.
Yeah. Just stop posting.
You gotta stop posting.
You gotta stop posting.
Anyways, Yang is like, I'm not going to pretend like we did everything perfectly, but if we'd done nothing, things would be even worse than they are now, which obviously incorrect. And Ren rightly says, how could they possibly be worse? We're out here while Salem has the lamp and Oscar. We've got no plan and no army. The no army part was kind of funny. I still don't know if the entire Atlas military is supposed to be destroyed right now or if they're also just standing around.
That would have been a good thing to see when the whale turned up, eh? What happened to the entire fleet that was sitting around Atlas? Would have been a good thing to see. It would have been good to know what the fuck was going on there.
Yeah, because it's I know all the ones on the outposts and stuff were supposed to be destroyed, but what about all the other ones that they were refusing to help Mantle with? Where are they at? It's weird.
The Salem's forces wiped out every single outpost at once. It was that well coordinated. It was that massive. And it's just this whale. It's here. Where's the rest of the fleet?
Anyway, Yang says, we've got the maiden. And then this is where my boy Ren loses me, because he says, and by keeping her from opening the vault for Ironwood, we're just trapping the whole city for Salem. People are going to die because of us. The last part's true. People are going to die because of you, but not because you're stopping this Ironwood from moving to space. That's still stupid.
Everyone is still acting like that plan is plausible.
Okay, but no, there's another moment like that one RWBY moment because she says, so what? We should just give Ironwood what he wants? Abandon Mantle? You think Atlas is still going to be able to float away to safety now that she's here? And he's like, I don't know, but these are the kinds of decisions we should be making because we have no idea what we're doing. Which again, you got me back, Ren. You lost me with that last comment, got me back here. Literally, why are you the people with the right to make these decisions other than the fact that you're the main fucking characters?
Well, there's no reason. There is no justifiable reason why any of these people are involved in anything.
Yeah, there's no reason Ironwood ever cared about them in the first place. There's no reason that these fate of the world things should be on the hands of these dumbass teens. He's right.
Yeah, but it's just, I feel like we're meant to be seeing the idea that there is some truth to what he's saying, but we should side with Yang or think, that he's just...
Yeah, you're supposed to think that he's being too hard on them, but he ain't.
But and it's also you're drawing attention to the meta. Why would you do that? Don't do that.
Well, because again, you're not supposed to think as hard about what they're saying as we are. You're supposed to be like, yeah, Yang did say battles that they won, I think, if I don't remember very well. And Ren is being rude. And then John tries to interrupt them to stop them from fighting, and Ren says, you cheated your way into Beacon, which is really on one end it's got him, but on the other end it's that's a really fucking random thing to bring up after years.
Yeah, it's been too long. Again, if that timeline is correct, obviously it's not, but if that timeline is correct, and they've been in Atlas and Mantle for 6 to 7 months, and they've been working as hunters for 6 to 7 months.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That means that Ren has been having this pissy sulky thing going on for months.
Someone said that they got the impression that this whole blow-up was supposed to happen in Season 7, and Eddie responded saying that that's not quite true, that they just knew they had to build up to it. So all of that shit in Season 7 was building up to this. This was the conclusion we were supposed to draw from all of Season 7.
But that's the thing, I picked up the few complaints that he made, so I kind of understood his problem of not thinking they're ready or whatever. It just still didn't justify him doing the fucking random ass dumbass shit last season. It wasn't good enough.
Where did the yes sir fit into that?
Well, I guess in this case, it's him being like, well, Ironwood, you're a more qualified person to make calls like this as opposed to us. I mean, but I do still think that scene is fucking bullshit. It was too bad. Especially since it came after the stupid kiss, which we know only existed to give them a high, but comes in the completely wrong point in this arc.
It really does. It's a shame someone else couldn't have kissed in a way that would have made more sense. It really is.
It's just too bad. Anyways, let's get out of the cold, they say. It's good, and then they find a shack, and it's time to get warm. But now it's time for a very important scene. So you know what all of that argument kind of downplayed the importance of?
Mm.
The fact that Oscar just got fucking taken away to Salem, and they're just like kind of like, man, we really fucked up again. Oh, jeez. So it's time to cut to Oscar, who I'm sure is just fine. And what's great is it's like a first-person perspective of Oscar, and it opens with Ozpin's voice saying, Oscar, don't panic, we're going to be okay. And that's the last we'll hear of Oz in this scene. This fucking little bitch.
Oz is a fucking asshole. Like,
Oscar, you're going to be fine. All right, I'm going back in the balls.
and it's also like, Ozpin can't guarantee that. And it makes no difference to him if Oscar dies.
I was thinking, like, now that I don't hate John so much in the last 2 seasons, I was trying to figure out who my least favorite character is, and it's definitely Oz. Fuck this guy.
Oh,
Seriously.
he sucks.
I
Yeah.
hate him so much.
He's a pain in the ass, yeah.
But anyway, Salem's here, my girl, and she's playing with a weird, realistic black cloud of, like, dancing children. Just like you do. Gotta kill time somehow. And you see Oscar, and he's being held up by the hound, and the hound is very lanky, and he's just like, oh, look at this good boy. I like this dog. He's a good doggo. And he's like, I did a fetchy. I found the baby.
Hey, slight sidebar. How do you feel about the fan theory that the hound is Summer?
Stupid. We talked about it a bit in the last podcast.
Did we?
Like, is there any reason that's true?
I don't think that, no, there's nothing to base it on, but I feel like maybe the reason it's caught on is because it does seem like the sort of thing they would do.
Yeah, that's literally the only reason to think it would be the case, is that it seems like a thing they would do. I'd be surprised, though. I don't think so.
Well, I'm just thinking about that, you know, Salem mentioned Ruby's mother, and the thing can talk. I'm just like,
We'll see. Maybe she was the previous person that Salem wanted to be her maiden vessel, but she failed her or something, or she refused to cooperate.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it'll be really funny if that's the case. I will laugh. At first, Oscar actually tries to pretend he's Ozpin, which I don't know why he would. It seems like it'd be the better move to pretend that Ozpin is still just like hiding in his balls, which seems to be the case.
Yeah, he's not helping him out at all in this scene.
Yeah, so I don't know why Oscar like tried to convince her that he's actually Ozpin.
God, Ozpin's a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, but Salem knows what's up. She grabs his face and she's like, "You're not fully him, not yet, at least."
So yeah, we're back on Your Identity Will Be Erased.
Yeah.
It really was just season 6, episode 3 that said that it wasn't a full merge. Everything else so far at this point has said it is.
Guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad that the most important lore dump episode was the one that's not correct. So I actually really like a lot of Salem's like character acting and facial acting in this scene, much more so than usual. Usually I think Salem kind of looks like shit. Like when she's like, well, perhaps you and I could have a better working relationship. Oscar, was it? And she's just kind of being, a lot of her faces that she makes during the scene are very like kind of done with this shit faces. Like she's kind of above this and she wants something from Oscar, but she doesn't care that much. And I don't know, I like it.
I do think that her voice actress is quite good.
She's a professional lady.
Yeah.
Isn't she the Cortana voice actress lady?
And also Salem's model, like as much as the boob window with the lines is bad, this model's not bad. Like her face is a bit off. But otherwise, I don't know, this one's not that badly put together.
Oh yeah, for me it really is like, from some angles the face looks okay, but from a lot of angles she looks like she has a big round baby face, and I don't think it really works for how intimidating her character is supposed to be.
Yeah, and but I also think that the round sort of shapeless face is an issue that most of the RWBY models have.
That's very true. So I realize this is actually a decent reason that she does want the Relic of Knowledge, because she wants to know where that beacon relic is. You know, the one that they weren't able to find because the relics didn't exist back when they wrote Volume 3. And so that is a decent reason for her to want the Relic of Knowledge, to find that other relic. So I getcha. Okay. And so she asks Oscar about that password, about that Wi-Fi password.
First of all, she says, do you know where the beacon relic is?
Oh, yeah. And he says he doesn't know.
And she believes that. She's like, yeah, I can believe that Ozpa wouldn't have told you that.
Yeah, she can tell.
Yeah. So then she asks,
But yeah, then she asks about the password, and he's like, this is all the questions are used up, sorry. And she's like, don't you fucking lie to me. It's time for the pain bow. It's a rainbow of pain.
yeah, she shoots a rainbow laser at him, he hits him, he screams.
It's just so funny that it's a rainbow to me. Like, of all, like, why don't you just make it her dark energy, maybe with some red on it? Why did you make it a rainbow?
Is it because it's meant to be like that's what magic used to look like in the other episodes and all the kids had one color and stuff?
But that's the thing is, like, it represents all the elements of magic. So it's like she's hitting him with all of the elements to hurt this child. Why? It's silly. It's silly. But not as silly as what's about to happen.
Oh.
But this also made me realize, like, I feel bad because I no longer care about Oscar, and that makes me sad to realize. But I'm sick of him being thrown around to the winds. He got shot by Ironwood, and it doesn't matter to the plot. Like, nobody thought it was worthy of mention, and the plot doesn't consider it like a problem that he never brought it up to anybody. It's just not relevant. And now he's getting tortured in the Salem dungeon, and I don't care anymore.
Unfortunately, this is what Oscar's always been, if you look at it. He is a RWBY character. He is a character who's just there to suffer. Getting Ozma in the first place was suffering. He got punched by Crow, he got almost punched by Jawn. He's just spent the entire time having a bad time and getting beaten up. And then obviously, yes, it's really ticked up at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think that this kind of character is inherently can't work, but you just have to really strike a balance before it starts to feel stupid and gratuitous, and now it's officially stupid and gratuitous.
Yeah. He's just getting... Look, also because this is, in the end, this is all he gets to do, really.
Yeah.
He didn't really get to go on the missions in the good bit because he was the weakest fighter, which obviously is why they gave him the lamp. Like, it's all like that. It's just, he either has existential crises or he gets bashed by someone. Who is he about to get bashed by?
Okay, but also, I just realized, like, of course they had to introduce another male character to have this kind of super complex existential crisis shit going on. Can we please have anything this relevant going on with any of our main fucking characters?
You know what they would say? They would say that Blake is the one who got all the emotional stuff in seasons 4 and 5.
Fuck that shit. That shit. Anyways.
But yeah, it's like, look at who's getting it. Like, it's Ren and it's Oscar. And before that, it was sort of Jawn.
Yeah, and maybe Crow is going through a lot of shit. And Team RWBY, they're here doing things.
None of them are particularly worried about anything. They're not, they're not having any crises. They haven't got big decisions they've got to wrestle with. Or the plot gave them big decisions and they chose to do nothing, but,
Yeah, hate it. But anyways, so Oscar hasn't suffered enough yet, so he's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. And Salem's like, okay, whatever. And then the door opens and Hazel comes in, and as soon as I saw him, I had to stop the video and because I was fucking dying laughing. It's the funniest shit, even though it really shouldn't be, because it's just this big ass man and he's come to beat up this child, and that's exactly what he does.
With his stupid vest that's open at the sides.
What an amazing, compelling villain. And he beats Oscar and he says, wait, I think I wrote
that was for Haven.
Yeah, that was for Haven Academy. Everything that follows will be for my sister.
Look, I get the idea with Hazel. Obviously, he's nuts because he lost his sister and he's so angry at Ozma. So he's not thinking clearly. He's obviously ignoring the fact that there's a child here. He's ignoring all these things because he's a villain, because he's a bad man. It doesn't change the fact that this is incredibly funny because this is such a fucking stupid one-dimensional character doing such an absurd thing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's one of those things where nobody in show points out how obviously stupid it is. You know, it's just like, oh, he does have a big grudge against Ozma, you know, that it's real tough when, you know, like there's these morally gray characters we have. And no one's like, isn't it fucking stupid that he wants to beat up a baby to make up for the fact that he thinks that Ozpin treats children badly? Isn't that pretty fucking dumb of him? Nobody says that.
No one does. And I can understand why no one would say it. But it's just, I think possibly in their minds we're meant to look at that and go, oh, isn't it dark? What grief makes you do or something. But it's just dumb. Like, it's just silly. It's just, he's such a silly character.
Yeah, it makes him functionally really fucking stupid. Like, his sister died to Grimm, and so his thing that he decided to do was to beat up a baby that the principal of her school is currently inhabiting and to side with the world-destroying Grimm lady. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's so absurd and over the top. This is part of the reason that it was so funny in last season when Ironwood said maybe Hazel's here too. And it's like, Hazel's not going to beat you up. You're not a child. Like, and also, what threat is he? The only time we've seen him, he got jobbed last season, like in season 4. Or, sorry, in season 5.
We had this fucking super witch lady with her pain bows, and then she leaves the room, and then it's just a big muscle man want to beat you up.
Yeah.
This is not escalation.
He's just silly. He's just a big, goofy, silly, stupid character. Ugh.
So he punches Oscar, and now Oscar is just like on the floor getting beat up, and he's supposed to have magic now. And I'm like, how long is fucking Oz gonna wait to? Presumably he could just kick Hazel's ass with magic, but Oz is just gonna, sit back and see how this goes.
Yeah, of course he is, because that's what he does. He goes away and doesn't do anything. It doesn't help.
Fucking shit, Oz. So anyways, it's time for Cinder in the hall or in like, I don't know, whale intestine hall, and her and Neo are hanging out. And I like that during this whole scene, Neo is doing like a sassy arms crossed pose, like, I'm too cool for all this shit. And Salem comes by with her goopy dog, and Cinder's like, what the fuck's with that? And she's like, it's my cool dog.
Wait, so hang on, the hound wasn't in there with Hazel and Oscar either? So it really was just Oscar and Hazel?
That's a good point, because Hazel punches him out of the hound's mouth. So I guess the hound then later opened the door himself and came out and was like, I don't know, I'm done.
But it also means that, like, Oscar is now in a position where he definitely could kick Hazel's ass.
No, yeah, Hazel freed him. They're not good at their jobs.
You know what would have been good? Like, this could have been a good redeeming moment for Ozpin if he'd maybe taken over in this moment. So he could take the beating instead of leaving Oscar to take the beating.
I know, Oscar always has to take the beatings for this motherfucker. God, Oscar, you could have just told her the password. Be her, Dark Son. I'm victim blaming you.
Which relic is a beacon again?
The relic of choice, which, if it does what it does in the fucking fairy tale book they made, it sucks. But then they made sure to be like, well, the fairy tale book is a bunch of, their stories passed down, so they might not be accurate to what the relics actually do.
Rad, I definitely want to read that.
I know, I'd love to read this lore that might or might not have anything to do with actual lore.
Because, like, Beacon had a lot of clock crap. I suppose that was Ozpin, but like it's not going to be a time travel relic, is it?
You wish. All it can do, apparently, is it shows you a time in the future where you will have to make a choice.
Oh, that's right. Oh, God.
Yeah, Salem really needs that shit.
It's also the thing of like, you can see from a story writing perspective how it's going to be like some character's going to see this thing and then so we're going to have extended periods of them wondering what choice they're going to make.
Right. Except I bet the correct choice will be super fucking obvious which one they're going to make. It'll be like, should I stop Salem or should I give up?
It's just, that's the sort of thing you can do in the fucking moment. Oh.
Like, I want to believe that the fairy tale book is them kind of like fishing for reactions, like, oh, people don't think that's cool. Okay, well, the fairy tales aren't just completely accurate.
It also just feels like it's so obviously a writing device, not like something that makes sense organically in the story.
Yeah.
These were the tools that the gods used to create the world. What did they use that for?
No, it's not. Don't forget they changed the canon of that. It's just something that the light god made to give Ozpin a fetch quest. That's literally the origin of the relics now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's fucking stupid. And it's like, so you have one relic that can make infinite energy or whatever the fuck, and you have another relic that can show you a choice you'll have to make in the future. I wonder which one you want more.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that might or might not be canon. I can't wait to find out in 500 years. But so Salem dunks Cinder real good in this scene, because Cinder's like, I want to go out. I want to find the Winter Maiden. And Salem's there with her doggo, and she's like, hear that, my pet? She thinks, she wants, as if she's done something that warrants me caring about either of those things. And I'm like, oh, air horns, air horns, air horns. Because yeah, she hasn't earned shit. She sucks.
Yeah, a thing that's been popping up in some of the fandoms lately is like people going, why has everyone got an issue with Cinder? And it's like, because she sucks.
And also, I can't handle, she keeps seeming younger and younger every time she shows up. Like in the early season, she was like this sexy, mysterious lady. And this scene is about her being like, I'm going to sneak out. I don't care what mom says. Yeah. And it's like, why have you been so infantilized as time goes on?
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Like a lot of things with Cinder, it's a mystery, but not like a good one. It's just sort of, I don't get what they're doing with this character. I don't get who this person is.
Right.
Ugh.
Hey, maybe we'll get some more flashbacks of her. I thought we were going to be getting more of those this season. Where are the rest of my Cinderella flashbacks at? I need more scrubbing. So yeah, Cinder, it just immediately cuts to Cinder sneaking out. She's going to go fucking do what she wants. Girls just want to have fun. But Neo, our girl, she's fucking styling as Cinder's just like angry walking. Neo is like floating on her umbrella, and it's just like, God, animators, thank you for, I'm so glad that you can have fun with this one character.
It's also like, again, Neo never speaking makes it difficult for them to get across exactly what it is she's thinking, but it's very clear that she thinks this is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Like that's the main thought. Someone who doesn't think it's a stupid idea, though.
It's Emerald.
Emerald's here.
And what's great is she's like, if she doesn't want to come, I'll come. And then she's like, I won't tell anybody. And just something about the delivery is very like kids sneaking out to go hang out at the mall.
She's played a bit more like a valley girl at this point.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody. It's like you work for like the evil Dark Queen. Why is this so cash?
Yeah, this is far too cash. Also, where's everyone else?
Is Mercury gonna have speaking lines this season?
He's nowhere to be fucking seen. The conversation between Salem and Cinder goes on a bit longer, where Salem just refuses to tell Cinder anything because she hasn't earned it, blah, blah, blah. I'm still not completely clear on, like a lot of things with Salem, we don't understand what it is she's trying to do or what she wants or her motivations at all. But in particular, I don't really understand what her relationship is with Cinder, in terms of like, Cinder seems like she should be important, but she let her wander around by herself for 2 and a bit seasons.
I told you, she believes in her daughter.
Yeah, but she's also just being a huge bitch to her daughter all the time.
No, her daughter's doing a big bad job, so she's grounded. Because that's the thing, like, this is supposed to be like, oh, she's a super evil dark queen. And then Cinder crosses her, and she, you know what she does? She says, don't leave, you're grounded.
But then, like, remember like back in season 4 when Cinder was injured and Salem was kind of like motherly towards her?
Yeah, exactly. She's her daughter.
But now she's being the exact opposite.
Well, because Cinder keeps fucking up and she's very disappointed in her daughter.
I don't know, man. It's too much of a switch around. This feels more about trying to make Salem look scarier than it does as to what the hell is going on with their relationship.
Well, and it's very clear, like, especially season 4 was the most, we have no idea what the fuck we want to do with Cinder.
Yeah. Or Salem to some extent, I think.
Yeah, so maybe they figured it out now. I guess we'll find out eventually, maybe.
Yeah, it just feels, again, it's this thing of like it just needs to make sense scene to scene. And what needs to happen in this scene is that Cinder is pushed into running off by herself to do something potentially foolish.
Yeah, but so it's just so fucking childish. It's hilarious.
Everyone in the show acts like a baby. Everyone in the show is a baby.
Yeah.
Remember how young people don't know how to handle adult problems?
Yeah, because I remember for a while I was thinking like, is this a sexism thing that all the girls are infantilized? And I was like, no, none of the guys act mature either. Everybody acts like a stupid fucking child in RWBY.
Yeah.
So that's gender equality at least. So it's time for the last major scene of this episode.
Yeah.
Team Jury, JRY are in the shack, and John's like, yeah, maybe I did cheat to get him to Beacon, but you know, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, fucking Oscar was just taken by Salem.
Yeah, I know. They're like, this is like we're having, it's important we get character moments across. It's important we have these character moments. And I was like, this is a weird conversation to be having at this moment.
They're just so fucking over it already.
Yeah, Jordan's telling Ren, oh, you gotta open up to other people about the way you feel. And it's just, this is a weird time.
Oscar's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, I understand they're stuck out there. They can't do anything, whatever. It's still just, this is a weird thing to be spending time on.
No, yeah. Well, I guess by this point they've lost Oscar so much that, that they've come to terms with it.
We're pretty used to just not knowing where he is, yeah.
Yeah. So Yang comes in and she's like, I found a part to fix a bike. Yay. And Ren goes out into the cold to sulk. The fucking dangerous cold that they had to get out of because it's draining their aura and gonna kill them from the cold. He goes out there because he's gotta sulk like a fucking baby. He's 19.
Yeah.
Plus, it's who knows now.
Yeah. So what happens next?
So there's this fucking dumbass series of lines where Yang is like, do you think she thinks less of me for not helping out with Amity? And John is like, oh, Ruby's your sister. I'm sure she blah, 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 blah. And Yang's like, yeah, Ruby. It's like, there's your Bumblebee for this season, for the first time this season. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would she assume that John knew she meant Blake? Also, Oscar's fucking...
I mean, also, the other thing is that it does reinforce, like, Yang is just super dismissive of her sister. Like, she's still just really angry at her. It's like, oh, Ruby.
Yeah, it's so sudden and so nonsense. And then, yeah, just like, do you think Blake thinks less of me? Blake didn't even fucking have a take on that debate back in that scene. She had, like, no opinion whatsoever. She's just like, well, I have to pick a side, so I guess I am going with Ruby.
I mean, well, I think because they had to be sneaky, and she's the sneaky one.
No, they didn't make an excuse that good for it. I think she had one line where she's like, it is important to get the tower up or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just what a really weird random time to make a nod at Bumblebee, and it's
Well, but this is the thing. This is what gets me about, like, getting back to Eddie and that whole speech he made about, you know, we have to balance character development and stuff with action and showing off parts of the world. And it's like, all of your character development's coming at the wrong moments. And it's like, doesn't make sense either. It's not like you guys are nailing that part of it.
Is whether Oscar is going to die soon considered unnecessary exposition that gets in the way of your character moments?
Well, like the audience knows, so we don't need to.
Yeah. Ugh. So anyway, so they're talking blah, blah, blah. And at some point, John is like, it seems like things get worse before they get better. And then you see a big crack form in the snow. And it's like, oh, no. And I will say, we find out what the crack is next episode. It's more relevant than I thought it would be. Because when the big crack formed, I was like, oh, a random encounter, grim. Oh, no. But it's a bit more than that, at least.
It's a bit more, but it's still like, I don't know.
No, it's the most amazing thing. Oh, we gotta wait, because that's my treat to talk about at the end of next episode. It's so good.
Okay, yeah, so now next episode 5.
Yeah, so episode 5, I don't think there will be quite as much to talk about because it has fewer events in general. It's all on Amity Tower.
Yep.
And a lot of stupid birds come home to roost this episode.
A lot of really dumb pigeons.
Yeah, so this is the thing. This episode made me cry just a bit during one part, and Phoenix's takeaway, what you want to say what your general takeaway was?
I hated it. I hated this whole episode. It was so fucking dumb.
No, yeah, it's like I knew it was dumb, but now having rewatched like a lot of the parts, it's like, yeah, I can't even like feel the feeling that the scene gave me anymore because it's just so fucking dumb.
Yeah, when Cube says she cried in a way that I think the writers intended her to cry. Like a sad thing happens.
A scene got me.
Yeah, but
it's so stupid.
I could see what they were going for, but it was just so much dumb happening.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past it. I was just angry. I was live streaming it in the Discord, and I think I was very grumpy by the end of that.
Yeah, you were pretty grumpy.
Yeah, I was real cross.
All right, well, let's see where we are by talking about it. Because so the thing is that they finished the arena together. That's all it took is two old people with a lot of chutzpah. But all that they need is some thrust. So you know what's a reasonable, good way to get some thrust for a thing that you got to send up?
An explosion.
You just got to explode a bunch of stuff below it, and then you'll go up, up, up.
It's not how it works, but okay. All right, let's suggest
it's fine,
works.
whatever, fuck it. So they're gonna explode the dust mine to send them up in a dust mine explosion. And so
the idea is that they can't hold the altitude they need for very long. Is that the idea?
No, they can. He was saying that like they can do everything except for getting up there.
Right, okay.
So they just need the thrust to get up there. And I noticed that Maria is now in one of those, like, the kind of mech, but you can, like, see her in the front. And now, what reference did you make the moment you saw that?
I saw her walking around in a yellow sort of humanoid mech that was designed for lifting cargo, and I said, get away from her, you bitch.
Haha, funny aliens reference. Haha, I getcha.
Aliens.
Interesting reference you made there. So anyways, so she comes and sets down this big metal cylinder that seems to be like everything you need for broadcasting. Like that's the whole broadcasting part is just this single metal cylinder. And it's like, you couldn't fucking just bring that up on a plane?
I don't know. I guess it's got antennas. Maybe that's the fucking computer. It's like the OB truck. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, maybe. But so Penny's like, but what if no one is able to come and help Atlas if I stay behind, maybe? So this episode, if you're wondering whether they decide between whether they want people to come help Atlas or whether they want to warn everyone so they can save themselves, they don't decide. It's either one. It's whichever you guys feel like.
Yeah.
Whoever gets this message, whichever you want to do, you do you.
Like, again, both positions are stupid because what force from any other nation is going to save Atlas? Like, they established at the start of this whole thing that Atlas was the strongest one in terms of protecting themselves. The thing you're being told you need to protect yourself from is Grimm, and this entire world is a society based around protecting yourself from Grimm.
Look, I understand, like, you might expect a real big Grimm attack soon. The Lays could come in with a bunch of Grimm.
It's still like, I don't know, man. It's like, considering what they're ready to sacrifice.
Yeah.
To get this warning out, it just seems like I don't understand. And it's not like they give them much in the way of specifics about what you would need to do differently on that Grimm attack as opposed to any other Grimm attack. And also, we saw at the end of the last season, Salem's forces are so fucking overwhelming that they took out everything Atlas had to offer straight away. So what is even the point of warning anyone?
Yeah, and it's like last season we were supposed to believe that it made sense that if they told everyone in the world, then it would be super dangerous for them to do that because then Grimm would immediately attack them regardless of what Salem does. But I guess that's no longer a concern.
Yeah, that's not a concern at the
Cool,
moment,
awesome.
I guess. Panic, the thing that caused Grimm to attack Mantle last season is apparently not a concern anywhere else anymore. Yeah.
So, of course, it doesn't matter because they aren't going to be able to stay up there. But god damn it, I want to know what Pietro's long-term plan was. Was he planning to live on Amity forever? Like obviously they never touch on that because this thing's going to end up crashing, of course. But it's like, because he reasserts that he wants Penny to come live on Amity forever or something with them. It's just such a weird thing to just like casually drop.
It's like everything. It's like Ironwood's plan to live in space. You don't need to worry about the plausibility because it's not going to happen. So we didn't need to work it out.
No worries. So I do like that he says, Penny, you gotta come do this, blah, blah, blah. And then Maria's like, don't you think Penny has had enough people telling her what to do? And I was like, oh, that is pretty good. Snap, snap, Maria. I'll give you that one. Yeah,
like Penny's saddened by the idea that she can't go and help everyone down in Mantle or rescue people, that she has to sort of just be stored away because she's now too precious. Because she's got the powers and everything. That's ostensibly Pietro's reason, is that she's a maiden now and that power is dangerous and blah, blah.
Yeah, but it's also clear that he wants to protect his Penny.
Yes, yeah.
So they're about to blast off, but then, the big blast a hole in the floor. It's Cinder, and she's riding on top of the airship, and it looks really funny. And it's Team Rocket. Here they are.
Yeah, there's an element of that to this episode. Because, so here's the thing. Cinder came into Amity by burning a hole through the bottom of it to get in. Mm-hmm. But it's a good thing that she did burn that hole because that ends up being the only effective thing she does the entire time she's here. That's the only thing of consequence for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, the moment she enters, she actually just hurts one of the stabilizers, and that's why Amity is going to end up being unable to maintain its altitude. Yeah. Everything else that she does here is whatever.
But the thing that she did to actually sort of semi-thwart plans was a pointless thing done at the very start and accidental.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She only just hits the stabilizer. Like she wasn't aiming for it.
What a cool villain.
Why do people have a problem with her?
So she comes in and she's like, nee-hee-hee. Oh, where's Ruby? She's not here. Oh no, my rival. That's a small child. That's the only one I wanted to fight. Well, I guess I'll fight you in the meantime because I'm so power hungry, but I don't care about maiden powers anymore for this scene.
Yeah, but to be fair, she does try to steal them at one point.
Yeah, but she was just as soon as she gets there, she's like, oh, I thought your friends would be here.
Oh yeah, she's more worried about Ruby.
Oh, but you see the ship pull up behind Cinder and opens up, and so Emerald and Neo are there. I guess Neo decided to come after all, and Neo doffs her cap. And it's again, the animators are just having a fucking blast with her because she's blurred in the background. You can barely see her, but they just have her doff her cap, and it's yay! And then the explosions all go off, and so it's time for us to go on up.
Yeah, this is the thing. It does look dumb because the idea is that they blow up a dust mine below Amity, and that starts to help push Amity up. But like Amity doesn't really start moving until the explosion's mostly done. I don't know. It looks so silly. It's one of those things where like this is a nitpick, but I'm just looking at it going, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I just assume that's one of those like we didn't have time, we need that break kind of things.
Yeah.
But so yeah, now we're gonna have a fight scene, and I will say in terms of maiden fighting stuff, it is better than the Cinder Penny Winter fight.
Oh, far better. Yeah.
I like that there's a lot of Cinder doing things that kind of resemble the way she used to use her semblance, which is nice.
There's a lot of creative fighting on her part, like when her and Penny are first about to face off. Penny's obviously got her swords out. So Cinder, like as they're going up, everyone's sort of pushed into the ground a bit as they're accelerating. And Cinder sort of uses her semblance and her maiden powers to form swords out of the floor of Amity, and then fires them all off at Penny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It was good, yeah. That was a creative idea. That was fun.
Yeah, and they even have her like shoot fires at one point. I was like, yay! That's a little service for me. So they're flying around fighting. Oh, and Maria at one point blocks an attack, and you know what Maria says?
Can't remember.
Says, get away from her, you bit, and it gets cut off because it's aliens. So when you said that reference, I was just like, oh my god, I bet you don't think that they would just literally put that reference in the show, but hey, thing from the other thing.
I wouldn't have hated it as a line, it's just that I just knew it was coming as soon as I saw that mech.
Yeah, it's too on the nose.
Yeah, it is a bit. And she doesn't get to finish the line either because then she gets belted by the ship, I think.
Yeah, Neo attacks her just by like ramming the ship into her, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, and so Neo smashes the mech, so then they have to fight hand to hand. And it is sort of fun to watch a fight between two characters who have the weakest motivations to be anywhere.
Yeah, this is the thing. There's a lot to enjoy about this fight because one, yes, neither of these characters have any reason to be here other than for the lols.
Yeah.
Two, it's really funny that this is the first time we've seen Maria fight, and I always thought that at some point she was like very dramatically going to get a chance to show like, I can still fight after all, and it was supposed to be cool. But no, she just kind of like starts fighting suddenly and is like, oh, okay, I guess she's fighting now.
The third thing is there's an odd moment when Maria asks Neo, why are you here? What do you want? What does Neo do?
Yeah, she turns into RWBY, and I didn't get that at first, but yeah, that's supposed to be like her response is like, I'm looking for RWBY, but I didn't know why she was turning into RWBY to fight her, but now I understand.
Yeah, because I didn't get it the first time either, but like part of me is like, she could have been more literal. Like this is, her semblance lets her turn like into pretty much anything she wants to at this point. Like, because for one thing, when she's dressed up as RWBY, she's fighting with Crescent Rose. You see a little bit of it.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not something she's previously been able to do, is like mimic a weapon as well.
I remember last time she turned into RWBY when she was with Cinder, and Cinder was talking about like, did you get the thing I needed? And she turns into RWBY. I thought she was like, this is the disguise I'll use.
I would kind of feel like maybe she should have turned into RWBY dead.
Yeah, I want dead RWBY.
Yeah, like RWBY with like Neo's umbrella through her chest or something.
RWBY just with like big cartoon X eyes. She could.
Yeah, just be creepier and more literal. There's a lot more you could do with Neo's semblance.
Yeah, but so there's also a really funny moment because as Neo is about to pull Maria out of the mech, Emerald is like, Neo, come on, or something. And Neo looks at her and she's like, nah, I want to fight this old lady. And then so she pulls Maria out of the mech and they fight. And it's just, again, neither of them has any, they don't give a fuck. They're just like, I feel like fighting someone.
It's also like no one continues to have any respect for Emerald. I mean, why would you? But yeah.
Yeah, Emerald, I think she's trying to get higher up to get to Cinder, but for some reason, the way she decides to do that is to, like, leave into one of those hallways behind all the stands, and then I guess, like, pop out in another hole somewhere.
Yeah. The reason she's here is that she told Cinder that she'd been working on her semblance, so I guess she'll be able to help with, like, illusions or something.
Yeah, and she does use it a bit when the ship is fighting the mech to whatever. But so something that's interesting that happens during the fight is Pietro notices the problem of it being destabilized, but they're in signal broadcast range. And it says that they'll be out of signal broadcast range in 3 minutes. But he doesn't try to start sending the message or anything. It's not that important.
There's a big sign that says broadcast lost or something.
No, I'm telling you, it has a countdown timer, and they have 3 minutes until they'll be out of broadcast range. And he's like, oh no, tap, 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 tap. And it turns out that he can't make it stop crashing by tapping on the keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, look, this will become more infuriating when you find out what the message is and the nature of
Oh
the message.
God.
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if they had started sending it then, maybe they could have sent the whole thing by the end. Oh, my next note that I have written down is, are they in space or not? Because this is the thing. If you try to figure out how high up they are, you'll die. Like, people keep trying to be like, well, clearly they're in the whatever-osphere. No, you can't, because it's high up enough that they're just above the cloud line, but seemingly you can breathe. But it's too cold for Penny out there, but not really. And you will immediately turn into a fireball if you start to descend from it.
The phrase they use at one point is atmospheric orbit, which is not really a thing.
That's not. They're somewhere above the grimosphere, but below the dust no workosphere.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like it's very much, you get the idea. They're up high.
Yeah, it's just kind of annoying, especially once there's that re-entry fire, and it's like, what? They're right above the clouds here.
I like again, this is a nitpick, but the re-entry fire in particular is when one character starts falling. And like, I don't think they understood that re-entry fire happens because when a spaceship's re-entering, it's traveling really, really fucking fast.
Yeah, but she just immediately becomes a fireball.
Yeah, but it's like she wouldn't, the person that ends up falling wouldn't be falling that fast. Wouldn't even reach that speed. Like,
yeah, it's fucking dumb. So Penny is like, why serve someone like Salem? And Cinder's like, I don't serve anyone, and you wouldn't either if you weren't built that way. Oh. And I like that when Cinder says that gotcha line, she smiles like a big fucking baby. She's like, ha ha ha.
it's something that Penny does seem to have to grapple with for a second.
Yeah, I think that's a decent line, because it's like, how do you know that you're not made to have these feelings that make you want to protect people? Because that is what you were built for. She's not wrong.
And then all she has to say in response is, I actively want to protect people who care about me. Which, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
But like, that doesn't answer the question of you were built to do that as well. So
yeah, haha.
Yeah.
So Cinder wins this round of burns. She's got all the burns. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
So they're fighting. Oh, I do like that Neo beats Maria, and she does her thing where she's gonna take out the stabby of her umbrella, which she should learn by now. Anytime she does that, she's gonna get punked by someone. So Penny just like shoots her with a laser real fast and defeats her.
And she's done. Yeah. Penny's lasers are very strong for something she doesn't use that much.
Yeah, it's like I'm almost like, should I uncheck the box where I said she gives up her lasers? I still think it counts in that other fight. But like, this fight shows why it's like, that's why you don't just use hail.
At no point in this fight does she attempt to use hail.
Yeah. So she's beaten Cinder, but then Cinder and Emerald make eye contact, and then Emerald does the thing where it makes it look like there's a lot of Cinders in a circle around Penny. And Cinder has a spear, and I was really wishing that the spear looked like Pyrrha's spear specifically. I think that would have been, like, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be a callback or not, because it doesn't look exactly like it, but it would be cool if it was.
It did remind me of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but because she's a robot, she can tell which one's the real Cinder, and then she just blasts her real good, and then Cinder's like, ah, fuck.
Cinder's done. Like, Cinder's unconscious.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because it's, again, like, Emerald, this is the first time you've done anything in several seasons, and it didn't help.
Yeah, and of course Cinder just got fucking punked again, and Emerald runs over to her, she's like, no! And then there's this dumbass moment where Penny's real mad, and she's like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. But then Emerald shoot her gun, and she shoots like a part of the Amity arena, and she's like, I know I can't beat you, but I can destroy the arena with my gun before you could defeat me. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case.
No, it's quite clearly not the case. These guys are bullet timers. Penny moves very fast. She has the lasers charged. They're pointing at Emerald.
She has all magic.
And Emerald, I think Emerald was talking about the broadcast thing.
Yeah, she's going to shoot that tower thing.
Yeah, and so it's like Penny was directly between Emerald and that. I just don't buy that staging. Because what Penny does next is let them leave. Let them get in the ship, and the ship flies away, and she doesn't try to stop them.
Yeah, they just Team Rocket blast off again. And some of the people in the Discord pointed out, it's like, why didn't she just threaten Pietro instead? Even if she just like shot Pietro and it like grazed him in the arm, and then she's distracted, and then Emerald gets away. Like, yeah. It's one of those things where it might be a nitpick that it's not a well executed thing, but there's so many other ways you could have executed it that are like readily available and would have made more sense. So it's kind of annoying when something like that happens.
Also, like the fact that like you have to see them get into a ship. Like they have to go all the way down, presumably through the corridors in Amity, go to the ship, start the ship up, fly the ship away. Remember how one of these characters has the ability to teleport?
And also, okay, so this height that they're at right now is in broadcast range, and you can come and go perfectly fine from it with Atlas's normal ships.
Yep, yeah.
Fucking stupid.
This would have been like a good excuse for Neo to use her fucking mirror thing to teleport.
I don't know if they've decided whether she can actually teleport or not.
She did that with Roman, didn't she?
Functionally, she did, but I'm not sure if that's what is supposed to have happened.
Oh, okay.
I think she's just supposed to do the illusion stuff, and the teleporting is just like you didn't realize that you blocked it in such a way that it's literally impossible that she's there now.
Right. Okay, so it's like a sleight of hand.
Yeah. So again, this height, and then later, so they realize that it's crashing, and she's like, I can go outside and push it up so that we can keep sending the very important message that we need to send.
Pietro reacts like this will almost certainly kill her if she tries to do that.
That's the thing. So the scene that we're coming to is the one that got me, but the more I watch these scenes leading up to it, all of the characters know that something horrible is going to happen to Penny for no reason. The excuse Pietro makes is like, Penny, in your condition, you can't push the arena up. Even the cold out there will. And I was like, well, what? She was just flying around out there fighting Cinder. What the fuck are you talking about?
And like the decent line here.
Oh, yeah.
So Penny's saying she's okay with, potentially sacrificing her life for this. And Pietro slams his keyboard and says that he doesn't want that. He wants to see Penny live her own life. And Penny takes his hands and says, I'm trying to.
But Dad, I am trying to. I like it.
That's not a bad line. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, if only what Pietro was saying made any fucking sense. And again, it's one of those things where, like, if he was just, like, trying to push that much weight, even with your magic, it's too much. Maybe your body won't be able to withstand it. Like, you could have done so much better than, but it's cold out there.
Yeah. Like you say, they're acting like they think this is going to kill Penny, that something bad is going to happen to Penny. But what you're going to find out is that Penny was apparently perfectly capable of doing what they needed her to do, which was to push Amity up into broadcast range for long enough for them to send their message. And she seemingly does it without taking any damage to herself whatsoever. It's something else that no one was expecting that is what harms Penny in this scene.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where the characters are kind of morphing their actions to what they don't know but kind of know is going to happen in the story.
Yeah, like you needed to see Penny actually like taking damage from doing what she was doing, but she took none.
Yeah. So what's the actual issue?
So, it turns out I get to be smug because I was right.
You win this round, Fiend. Your stupid ass logic for how Penny gets hacked was the correct stupid ass logic.
So we cut back to Watts is back at the desk now. Even though the last time we saw him, he was put in prison. Whoops. He's back at the desk and he's got the sword open, which was the thing he was last holding before he was put back in prison. And he's looking at the sword and he explains how the swords, despite the fact that they are on cables, need to be able to communicate wirelessly with Penny. From this distance, from as far as you can get up, apparently, the sword can still talk to Penny.
Checks out.
So he takes a little, he opens it up and there's a little board of chips. And this is the best bit.
It's the fucking best.
He takes out Penny's green chip and then in his tweezers, he holds up a red chip with a W on it for Watts.
He has a strong brand. He's very dedicated to it. Though it's so funny because red isn't even his character color. He just has to make it red because it's evil.
And he just puts the red chip in and suddenly Penny's got flashing red eyes and she doesn't know what's happening to her, but she's being hacked from miles and miles away by a fucking sword that's supposed to be connected with the fucking cable. What is the point of the cables? Like, the only reason they are there is, like, I think you've said, it's so they can make an allusion to Pinocchio, and maybe so occasionally she can be yanked about by them because it becomes like a weakness. But, like, functionally, the way they use her swords, most of the time, it doesn't make any sense for those things to be on cables. And now we know they don't even need to be on cables for her to use them.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Oh, Fucking hell.
And even it's like occasionally she would do interesting maneuvering stuff with the cables, but then you could just have them like, you know, detach and reattach if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, the fact that they're always on cables, even though they literally don't need to be, is just fucking amazing.
And often can't be. Like, often the way they move means they can't be on cable.
Absolutely are not.
Yeah. But anyway, so what's his hacking was taking out one chip and putting in another chip. And he's hacked the mainframe.
Well, look, he had to make a real good chip. So here's the part that got me. Because the thing is that, like, there's this whole scene where Penny is desperately trying to push it up and her dad's trying to talk to her, but obviously he doesn't understand what's going on now because she's like, her eyes are starting to blip red. And she just like, really, she's like desperately trying to keep the thing pushed up and she's scared and she doesn't know what's going on. And at one point she's just like, Dad. And that got me. And I gotta say, like, a couple episodes ago, I was like, okay, Penny isn't a very good voice actor. The voice actress for Penny isn't very good, unfortunately. Apparently, if she's, you know, like getting the right voice direction and it's the right kind of scene, she can nail it because she really sold this for me, and some of the animation and stuff also helped. And it's like, I know it's fucking stupid, everything happening is fucking stupid, but I think, you know, I like Penny and she's just a scared little baby, and it kind of got me.
Yeah, I can see how it got you. I just couldn't. I was just so incredibly frustrated by what was happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything we described to you so far is fucking stupid. The thing that pushed me over the edge was the actual message.
What is the message that Penny will sacrifice herself for?
Yeah, Penny was ready to sacrifice herself to send a message. And part of the reason why this might have been a sacrifice for her is that because the message was about 3 minutes long and they needed to keep Amity up in that area for that long. Message? Well, okay, it's a message you got to warn everyone. You got to warn the world. You got to warn the world. A whole bunch of people all around the world.
Fucking Salem.
That Salem is coming. Who would be the best person to send that message?
Well, it's gotta be the main character. Everybody knows the main character.
It's fucking RWBY. Why is it RWBY? What is any possible justification?
I guess in their crew, she's the next, like, because Crow or Oscar would be the most obvious, but they've abandoned both of those boys. So I guess RWBY is the most leader position?
I guess. But, like, not one of the fucking huntresses? There's no one left in, like, Mantle who's any sort of position of authority? A cop?
Any
a
single
soldier?
fucking adults?
An adult, yeah.
No, because it's got to be all cute and stuff. Like, and it starts with Yang being like, "Yeah, it's on,"
and RWBY going like, "Are you recording?" And it's like, "Fucking Penny's dying, and you didn't cut this out."
Like, you'll see a lot of different scenes of different people, and we got to talk about some of them because it's great. But one of them is that you see Nora all fucked up in bed, and RWBY is looking at her own video of herself with a little like, "Ooh." Face, like she's just like, "Wow, I'm on TV," and it's just like, you fucking child, I hate you.
Yeah, like, this message is so full of fluff. Like, she does not get to the point. And like, part of it she uses to sort of complain about Ironwood being a dick, and it's just like, this is really, like, you got your one shot, someone's going to die for this. Like, that was always on the cards that people might die to get this message out, and the message keeps switching back and forth between being serious and her being sort of like cutesy.
Like I alluded to before, the message comes down to, "We're all gonna die, please help us, or don't. If you don't help us, you should probably watch out, cause there's a lady named Salem, but if you want to help us, we're gonna die otherwise, probably, okay, bye."
Yeah, she can control and coordinate Grimm, so you might have to face some Grimm.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of this exposition that she apparently gets across off screen, which is going to be interesting to see, like, how much the world knows now. Like, do they know everything? Because at some point they cut to where they make it clear that maidens and relics have been covered. So it's like, I don't buy that she got all that out in like 2 minutes in a way that everybody would understand.
No.
And also, if she just fucking told everyone where the relics are, like, I feel bad for the Shade Academy guy in Vacuo, because she's just like, "Oh, by the way, your headmaster is hiding a super powerful relic of destruction under his thing. Okay, I just thought you should know that." Bye. I hope you don't immediately have crazy riots.
And we know that people in, you know, the vicinity of Shade were listening, don't we?
Oh my god, it's my favorite show.
So yeah, the montage is of everyone around the world watching this happen. And so it's an opportunity to catch up with a lot of characters who we haven't seen for a while. One of them who I missed the first time was Glinda. I don't know where the fuck she is. She's alive. She got a male model.
She's in the random dust store from episode 1.
Is she in Beacon? Is that where she is?
She's in the town, yeah.
How is that possible? There's all the Grimm there.
No, it's cool. They got it back. It's in the book. She's doing paperwork now.
Oh, that's right.
It's canonical.
Okay.
It's dumb as fuck, but it is canonical.
Anyway, she's got a male model now. It's fine. She's still got a boob window.
It looks bad. Yeah, the boob window looks even worse because now it's like stretched vertically and it just looks really fucking silly.
Yeah. She always looked bad, but yeah.
But they did bother to make a Maya model for a random shopkeeper guy, but they didn't have time to make Maya models for the rest of Team Sun. Because there's a shot of, that's the most amazing shot because it's just Neptune and Sun out in the desert, like super zoomed out so you can see this completely nothing around them desert. And it's just the two of them and they're listening to Ruby's message and one of them goes, dude.
Two bros standing in a red zone. I don't know, man. I like you say, you could have done a close-up on them. But no, we decided to put them in this featureless red zone where they're missing 2 of their teammates.
Yeah, it's just so blatant, like, we did not have time to make the models for the other 2.
Or anything in this environment.
Especially if you weren't really apprised of all the lore and what they were doing out there. It's just really funny because it's like we saw them leave on a train and now it's just 2 guys alone in the desert. What are they doing?
Oh yeah, if you haven't actually read After the Fall or the other book, you don't know what the hell that was. That was just those 2 standing in a red zone.
They did say they were leaving for Vacuo on the train.
Is that what Vacuo looks like? A red zone?
This is Vacuo's the desert.
Yeah.
Except for the part of it that's the jungle. But yeah, it's just incredibly silly. I guess we'll see those guys in a couple seasons or whatever the fuck.
Anyway, yeah, so this is this long-winded, idiotic message. This is what Penny died for, so that Ruby could fart about, waste time on this incredibly important broadcast that doesn't really have a point and like doesn't make a ton of sense. And then it cuts, because Penny's been injured, she starts falling back to Earth, and she's the one who she turns to a comet. Like she turns into a meteor and catches fire because she's falling at
it's
12 k's an hour or something. I don't know. It's fucking ridiculous. But what the best bit though is that when the broadcast cuts off, the person they choose to show when it cuts off is Ty, the Ruby's dad.
But unfortunately, him house not good model available for him house. It's pretty bad.
I just like that he sees it and goes, no, and it's like, dude, well, why don't you try doing something and helping or something?
Well, to be fair, that's the funny thing, because it's like, I would say, well, he could only get to her with Raven, and there was that fucking stinger at the end of the last season where Raven comes to his house, and it's like, did they just she left? Like,
I'm not talking about could he do something right now. I'm talking about could he have done something ever? You know, like the way adult hunters are never doing anything fucking useful.
Yeah, seriously, where the fuck are all the adult hunters ever?
He was aware of what his daughters were trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, he was roughly aware of what was going on, and he just stayed home, looked after the dog.
So fucking silly. Oh yeah, it was Wise there, still looking like a reptile. But it's like he does sploot onto Ty at the end on his lap. I was like, oh, that'd be real cute if he looked like a real dog.
And you've been around a corgi recently, so you remember what they look like.
Hell yeah, I know about corgis, motherfucker. This is not a corgi, uncorgi. But, God, yeah, so it's fucking dumbass message. And it's like, if I saw that as someone from another country, I'd just be like, what the fuck was that? Why did that kid say all that dumb shit? I don't know. What am I supposed to do with this information? I guess I'll go back to eating my breakfast.
It's just so obviously main character syndrome. Ruby has to say it because Ruby's the main character. Despite the fact, like, she's not a person of authority. She's not known. She's a fucking teenage girl telling you all this insane shit.
Well, maybe the adults, maybe it's the time for the kids to do this. So yeah, it's like literally the only person that I could believe would come to help them is if Raven shows up with the squad. And people in our chat were talking about how maybe it'll be the fucking, it'll be a ripoff of Avengers Endgame at the end, and Raven will just show up with all the 5 named adults we know.
That's the thing. Like, how many people can show up? There's a fucking whale. There's this army that apparently took out all of Atlas's outposts. What are you talking about?
Well, look, you got Ty, you got Kalinda.
What if the White Fangs show up and they're going to be a force for good this time?
Oh, yeah, because that's the other thing. We also see Ilya, and then we see that Gira is calling her. So if the White Fang have to come save the oppressive class again, I will fucking die laughing. They just keep having to do it.
Anyway, that's these 2 episodes.
Oh, wait, but at the end, Ironwood's like, what happened? Because I guess he thought that Hacked Penny would come see him right away. And Watts is like, oh, I guess she's just restarting or something. Oh, because that was like, as she was getting hacked, she was like, the vault, I need to go to, no. And then she like blanks out. And Ironwood's like, go find her, Winter and the Aesops. And Winter has her new outfit. That's just like, she has a lot of random black things on her because evil.
And then she's doing the Marrow thing of not into what's going on.
Yeah, and again, fuck you. Fuck all of you. I don't give a fuck. You saw him murder someone for literally no reason. I don't care how conflicted you are.
No, yeah, it's too extreme. It's too extreme. I'm still afraid they're going to try and redeem Ironwood. Like some of these Aesops are and Winter are definitely going to get redeemed, but like I'm still thinking that Ironwood might get like a final moment, like a Shadow Weaver type moment, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, where it's like he's not redeemed, but he did do something to save the day.
Yeah.
So, who can say if he was good or bad? There's no difference between good and bad things, you imbecile, you fucking moron.
Yeah. This is the bit where, like, Harriet gets left to watch over Watts. Or taken back to his cell, and she's like, with pleasure. She cracks her knuckles, but...
Yeah, fuck yeah. She's ready to motivate him. Oh, yeah, but
he swiped Ironwood's phone, which I love. They never search their prisoners, ever.
Yeah, and he's holding it behind his back like a fucking toddler. It's good stuff. I like, there's just so many dumb pigeons coming home to roost. Like the whole having to send a very important message through Amity that we knew was going to be dumb as fuck and potentially pointless. The fucking Penny getting hacked.
Yeah, in the dumbest way possible. There's one more real dumb pigeon come home to roost, though.
What's that?
Well, Team Jury see the message as well. And they're like, oh shit, we got to get going.
Oh my God.
We got to get going.
I almost forgot. I can't believe I almost forgot the best fucking part. Oh my God. So like I alluded to at the end of last episode, I was worried that it was just going to be a fucking Grim, but it's not a fucking Grim. What is a Phoenix? I'm smiling so big right now.
So it's a crack. The crack in the ground wasn't just in one spot. It's a long crack. Mm-hmm. And when they look down into it, it's full of all this red goop. And as they look, a grim face pops up in the goop and then sinks back down again. And they're like, it's a river. It's a river of grim. And it's headed straight to the fucking crater.
It's the best, because I was like, oh, that is a pretty good, like, dramatic thing. That is more than I thought. Wait a fucking second. They prepared the bowl, and now the soupy can put it.
It's a good thing we put everyone in a hole.
Oh, if we hadn't acted, everything would be so much worse. It's so fucking good. Oh my God, they put everyone in the hole. And of course the fans are going to be like, how could they have foreseen this very specific reason why this was a fucking stupid thing to do? I'll be like, granted, maybe they couldn't have foreseen this extremely specific reason why it was fucking stupid, but they could have foreseen all the other reasons why it was obviously stupid as fuck.
I feel like you don't need to worry about the specificity of this. The thing is that, like, them being in a hole means things can fall into the hole with great ease. Anything falling into the hole with great ease would have been a problem. Big rocks falling into the great hole with ease would have been a problem. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Stuff can fall in a hole. Don't get in a hole. Pretty straightforward.
That's our rule for life. Don't go in a hole.
It's also just like, I get like, oh, well, like, they had to go somewhere because, Mantel's heat was turned off. Why? Why at no point did anyone turn it back on? There was quite a long stretch of time at the end of season 7 when, like, Jacques didn't have control of stuff anymore.
Well, because, remember, Watts has changed the passwords, except, oops, Watts is here now.
Watts is here working for you, but Ironwood at no point just makes him turn the heat back on?
Well, no, because Ironwood's evil now.
He's that determined to make everyone in Mantle die.
Yes, because he's evil now.
That doesn't... God...
This show's so fucking stupid. Yeah, but just knowing that the Grimm are all gonna... So it's like, I wonder, like, is she trying to start a secondary Uzi Jacuzzi? Because that'd be kind of interesting.
This is the thing. She was, when the message was going out, they cut to Salem at one point and she seems pleased.
Yeah, she pets Tyrion on the head, which I thought was very funny.
And it's, yeah.
So yeah, I assume she wanted that message to go out because like they alluded to last season, it'll freak everybody out and they'll all get killed by Grimm, which is obviously a thing that RWBY doesn't care about because RWBY's a fucking sociopath.
It also made me wonder if the reason that Cinder wasn't supposed to go out is that she didn't want Cinder interfering with the broadcast.
Yeah, because it's like Cinder assumed that she didn't know or care that that's what RWBY was going to do. But yeah, I think Cinder's going to find out that she actually wanted RWBY to succeed and she's going to be pissed that Cinder interfered. I do wonder, like, I think this might finally be enough for her to do something to Cinder.
Part of me is like, why wouldn't Salem tell Cinder that? She believes Cinder in a position where Cinder can just leave if she wants. She knows that she's motivated to go and maybe interfere with this plan. And she could just tell her, look, just wait until after that, and then you can go and do it. But she has to be evil and cruel, so she doesn't say anything.
Yeah, no, that is pretty silly. That is a miscalculation on my girl's part.
Yeah. I don't know if like she wants everyone's attention while Atlas destroys itself with Grimm or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying like she wanted to maybe like hijack the broadcast and just be like, you know, again, we're redoing volume 3, right? So she wants to do another like, look at how your major city falls. Ha ha ha, it's in my clutches and shit.
Yeah. Or like you say, this message is just designed to make everyone panic, like Cinder's message did in volume 3. So
yeah, we really are just doing it again. I feel like now that we have Grim River going on, they're going to have to abandon this place, right? Like, they're not going to save it in any way. I would be quite surprised. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, on one end, you know, you should be used to this with stories. They're setting up impossible scenarios, and then it'll be really impressive if our heroes are able to do it. But I know if they're able to do it, it'll be for some stupid bullshit reason.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything clever or interesting to happen here. It never does. So...
Yeah, so this will be fucking volume 3 again.
Yeah, either they abandon it or this time they save it, but then what? Because I feel like either way, we just know they're going to Vacuo, so like...
You know these kids are gonna fucking go to Vacuo at some point.
Eddie also said that seasons 7 through 9 are kind of like they've worked on like it's one big season, which means we're probably going to end up with another cliffhanger here.
I don't know about that. I don't know if you can take away that meaning from that. I still feel like we're going to have some kind of resolution at the end of this season.
I don't know, man. I don't trust anything.
We'll see.
I'm just like, yeah, either they manage to save Atlas and then go to Vacuo, or they don't and then they go to Vacuo. And it's like, well... Okay. I mean, obviously Salem's not going to chase them to Vacuo, you would assume.
I assume they're going to have to chase Salem to Vacuo, because it's like, why else would they go there other than Salem's going to go there and get that relic and they have to go stop her?
Well, exactly. This is this stupid fucking relic fetch quest. Like...
It's dumb as fuck. It's amazing. It's my favorite.
I hate it. I hate the show.
I love the show.
Bad show. It's a real bad show. All right, well, let's RWBY slushy for this week.
Wait. Okay, so we didn't open with reading, but I have a very short reading for you from the book because I'm actually almost done with it.
Oh, God.
So here's the thing. So speaking of abandoning places because they're overrun with Grimm. So this fucking settlement out in the desert got overrun with Grimm, and they're like, we need to evacuate. Which, you know, like shouldn't really make any sense because then the Grimm are just going to follow the people either way. So it's like you might as well hunker down and try to defend it as best you can.
It also brings up the question of why there's small settlements in the first place.
Well, yeah, none of that makes any sense. But they're going to try to evacuate. So they're fighting a bunch of random Grimm wandering around the city as they try to get everyone out. And Velvet's with all the other people, and Coco's here fighting all the random mobs with her friends. That's everyone, he said. The Grimm are starting to thin out a little too, but some of them are still following the evacuees. Damn, Coco said. I didn't think of that.
Good work.
Why would you not think that the Grimm would follow the evacuees? These are the top of their class huntsmen.
We weren't ready to be hunters.
Apparently these were. Everyone is so stupid. I love that even in this book written by someone completely different, they're stupid in the exact same way. That's called brand integrity.
I thought you were gonna read that other bit.
Which one?
Where they get to the place and find out.
Oh no, that's in a separate fucking flashback.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, talk about that. Yeah, that was pretty incredible.
So when Coffee was away on their away mission in Volume 2, it turns out that their away mission was an optional extra credit mission to go help a town that had sent out a distress because it was being overrun by Grimm and they were evacuating. And we find that out because they're talking about Team RWBY with it while handing off party preparations to them. And so then they go out there and the town's been fucking destroyed by Grimm because nobody came to save them. They were relying on extra credit kids, and they say over 200 people died. And they find the only 6 survivors, and then they watch them die too, and then Professor Port shows up and picks them up. And they're like, fuck.
Time to go to the party.
Caffeine. Caffeine. Rat scene.
Just fucking hell. Everyone died. Sorry.
Yeah, but what do you want? They're kids, these kooky kids. I also love, like, so presumably Professor Port just, like, dropped them off sight unseen and was like, call me if you need me.
And like 5 minutes later, they were like, yeah, look.
No, yeah, and they get a call at some point that's like, if you can't handle it, we're gonna send in what do you call it, like a pickup team to pick you kids up. Not anyone to help.
These people, yeah.
Yeah.
Main characters, they're the most important.
It's just amazing. Fuck these civilians.
Everything about this show is cursed.
I hear that the second book is like way wilder than the first one, and I accidentally got spoiled on one aspect of it because in the AMA someone was like, so we know that semblances can be unlocked in the womb because of this character, and I was like, oh my god, I need to read this fucking book.
Yeah, the worst thing is, I don't know if E.C. Myers, like, he could be a good writer, but there's just something about RWBY that makes everyone write insane nonsense.
Yeah, it's like it's impossible to not.
Yeah, it's like with the DC comics. Margaret Bennett's a pretty good writer, but then you read those comics and it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
It's cursed. The curse of the Rube.
Should we leave it there?
Yeah. Hey, thank you for listening to us talk about the RWBY. I love to talk about the RWBY. It's my favorite show. I'll be very sad when it goes on hiatus, but hang in there, artist people.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.